All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our webinar this morning or this evening, or I don't even know what to say because we are a global company and this is how it is. How exciting though. So today we're going to take you through basically our best-selling app on the Atlassian marketplace and actually one of the top selling apps in general, and it's called RefinedTheme for Confluence. Many of you may already be familiar with it, many of you not. But I'm actually going to hand over now to our product manager, Martin Pedersen, who knows this product exceptionally well, and he's going to take you through the presentation. So over to you, Martin.
Well, thanks, Genevieve. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. So we're going to talk about Confluence with a purpose in 20 minutes. And hopefully, since we are on, someone said it was 5 somewhere, and I'm sure it is. So we'll keep it quick. So hopefully 20 minutes or less. But we will try to keep it short and sweet. All right, so this is the agenda for this morning. First of all, I'm going to talk you through a little bit of what RefinedTheme actually is, and I'm going to mention a few like design decisions we have taken along the line to make it the great product that we think it is. After that, we're going to go through some basic setup, and that's just to give you an idea of how to set up a minimum viable product with RefinedTheme. After that, we will go into a bit of a deeper dive with some common features and some hidden gems. And hopefully you guys will have some questions for us, which we will take at the end of the presentation. But please post your questions in the chat window here on GoToMeeting, and Genevieve will collect them and we will go through them in the end. So let's get started. So what is RefinedTheme and why should you care? RefinedTheme is a theming add-on that makes your Confluence look a bit smarter. It adds some branding capabilities and it allows you to move stuff around. So it can make your Confluence instance a bit nicer on the eye. It adds some capabilities for the navigation. So we think that Confluence is great, but maybe a bit hard to navigate for some users. So we have added some features to make it easier for your Confluence users to navigate their content and hopefully find what they need faster. And it's also non-intrusive, as we say. And what we mean by that is that it doesn't put itself in the way of you and your users using Confluence the way you are used to use it. So more on that later. So let's get started with the basic setup right now. First, I want to show you vanilla Confluence, and these images you should probably be familiar with if you have been using Confluence for a while. As you can see here, there's a lot of actions going in, and if you have been using Confluence for a while, or you are many people using it, this might be a familiar sight as well. This actually shows the list of spaces that we have in our demo Confluence. So there are a lot of spaces in there, and it's hard for our users to navigate them. So this is where RefinedTheme comes into the picture, and installing RefinedTheme is actually not that hard. It's not harder than installing any other app or add-on on your Confluence instance. You simply go to the marketplace .atlassian.com and you search for RefinedTheme. Then you have to make sure that you get it for the right platform, since we do offer theming solutions for other platforms as well. but select the one for Confluence Server and you should be good to go. You will get a jar file as you are used to, and then you can upload that to your Confluence. So now we have installed RefinedTheme, and the result you should get will look a little bit like this. And this is our basic setup. So this is before we have done any configuration, basically. As you can see, we have a nice green looking Confluence now, and this is the main dashboard. And to the right you can see a navigation bar which allows your users to access some important features more easily. And you can see we have structured things a little bit differently than Confluence. But actually these are all of the things that you can get from the Confluence dashboard, but just restructured. More on that later. Okay, so we are building an intranet for a fictitious company that we have called Meccano, and their brand color is red. So we're gonna need to change that pretty green to a red color. So we're gonna go ahead and create a theme right now, and this is a very quick demo, I'm afraid to say, but it's just to show you what our theme editor is capable of. So let's get started. We're going to create a new theme here, and we are now in the theme editor. We are working our way through the features. We're uploading a picture to the background. We're changing some things around here. This is the menu. You can actually change some colors here, so we're going to make it a bit prettier for the background and make it work a little better. And we're also going to change how the content is displayed. So we're going to change that right now. And with that, we are pretty much done. And as you can see, we now have our new Meccano US theme there. So once this is done, you need to apply the theme. So you go to our configuration and you find the theme you want, and you select it. And once that's done, you hit save, and then you can go back to your Confluence instance and reload, and you will see the new theme being applied. So it's as easy as that. It's pretty straightforward. The theme editor might be a bit scary in the beginning, but we have tried to structure it so it should be easy for you to get into without having to write a single line of code. All right, so I promised that we have some features for organization as well. So let's dive into that. On the top here, you can see a navigation menu, and it looks like any other navigation menu on any other site that you might visit on the interweb. And as you can see, we have a projects category, the third one from the left, and it's missing a few products of ours. So we're going to go ahead and add them there, just to show you how you build your navigation. So as you can see here, we don't have the products in there. It's an empty category, and all of the links here is actually spaces. So we go into the organizer, and the spaces are, the uncategorized spaces are to your right here, and you simply select them, drag and drop them, and they will be organized, hopefully. There we go. It's automatically saved, so once you go back to the web, to the Confluence instance, you can reload and they will appear in the navigation menu. And of course, you can use the menu to navigate your instance, but you can also use it for a lot more fun stuff. All right, so basics are done. Let's have a look at some more advanced stuff in RefinedTheme. And the first thing I want to get back to is the dashboards. So like I said earlier, this is the main dashboard. It sort of replaces the main dashboard from Confluence, from vanilla Confluence, and it adds some features. As you can see, this is a three 3-column layout, and we want to replicate that in our category home for the products category. So all of the categories also have a dashboard, so to say, and you can set them up individually, and or you could use a template that we also provide a templating system for that. So let's go ahead and go into the dashboard editor for the products dashboard. This is we're going to change it to a 3-column layout. As I said, we're going to add some modules there, drag them around, and then we're going to add a search module, put it on top, and we're pretty much done. So again, a very short and fast demo to show you how you can work with the dashboard editor. There is a lot more to say about it, and we do have a lot of information on our docs pages if you need to know anything. Just to show you that you can use it to add even more stuff, I'm gonna add a picture of Kramer here as well. So we have this pretty painting of Kramer, and we add it. And this is to show you that you can actually add anything to your dashboard. It can be Confluence content, or it can be like the predefined modules that we already have, and you can also you can add pretty much anything. It could be users, could be tables, it could be a planning board or whatever. So it's a pretty versatile little feature there. Next up, we want to do pretty much the same thing for the space layout. So in order for you to be able to tailor how the spaces actually work, we have an editor that sort of resembles the dashboard editor for space layout as well, and it can be reached via this little menu over here. And it looks and works pretty much the same way. It has some of the features locked, like the page title there, for instance, and also the page body. You won't be able to move them around, but otherwise you can add and subtract information here to tailor the spaces to your needs. So let's say, for instance, that there is a documentation space where there's not a lot of collaboration going on, then you can remove tools to do collaboration, and on a product or a project space, you could do the opposite. So you can add information about who to contact and stuff like that. So it's a versatile little machine, this as well. All right, giving a webinar is all about the force, right? No, but I wanna to cram in some form of reference to Star Wars, since we are leading up to the new movie here very soon. So we want you to use the force, and by that we mean the force of Confluence, of course. We think that Confluence is really good in a lot of ways, and one of the ways that is very powerful is the editor and the rendering engine of Confluence. So we don't want to mess with that. So this is just to show you that we make use of the same editor as Confluence Vanilla does. And the really cool thing about that is that all of your macros will work the same way as you are used. You can also install any third-party macro. They will work out of the box together with RefinedTheme. And if they don't, then we have to look at that. But pretty much every macro should work the way you expect it to. And this also means that when you install RefinedTheme, you don't have to worry about your pages looking nice. If they look nice in vanilla Confluence, it will also look good with RefinedTheme enabled. We also have a footer editor, which allows you to add some information to the footer. And for you who know the footer from Confluence, you know that it's just a single row of text. And in our footer editor, you can actually add modules. So you can add modules such as link modules, blog, logo, and questions, and also an HTML module, which is really really cool. The HTML module is probably the most interesting one, and with it you can add any form of HTML you want. So of course that also includes script tags and styling. So you can write pretty much anything you want. It's just your imagination that puts a halt to it. The same thing also goes for categories. Actually, we have an advanced category system where you can add pretty much the same modules to your category menu as well. So I'm going to add a HTML module here, and I'm going to paste an IMG tag to show a little robot here. As you can see, he shows up right there. You can also have users, you can have blogs, or you could have simply links to other things in there as well. So it's a pretty nice way of displaying content and making your navigation stand out more and easier for your users. All right, moving on to some hidden gems. And hidden gems sounds very exciting, but it's simply a way of putting it features that we don't have the time to talk about usually, because we have a lot of cool features in our product, and I wanted to take the chance to actually highlight a few of them that don't get a lot of attention on an everyday situation. So let's start with theming by category. With this feature, you can actually have a theming per category, so all the categories can have their own theme. So let's say HR wants their own theme on their category. So you simply go in to the organizer and edit the HR category, find the theme you want, select it, and save. And once you are back into your instance, you will see that HR now has this teal look to it. Next up, news and blogs. We have already talked a little bit about blogs, and we actually have a news module. You can see it in the middle here, and it actually pulls news from the blog portal, which is our way of aggregating all the blogs in the instance. And with this, you can use this to collect information and news from your organization and present it in a nice way. All of the blogs can have their own themes, of course, and you can, as you can see here, we display recent contributors and stuff like that. So it's a little more advanced than the standard Confluence blogs. Last but not least, this is a personal favorite of mine, and it's the N to navigate. So if you hold down the letter N on your keyboard, and you will get this little remote control looking thingy, and you can then use your arrow keys to navigate it, and from it you can access things like search, categories, recently worked on, etc. So it's a very nice little thing for power users to move around in the instance, and if you use it correctly, you might even impress somebody in your close vicinity. So, little tip. Well, it is time to wrap up, and I just want to summarize some of the things we have talked about. We have shown you how to do theming and how to use our theme editor to your advantage to create a nice looking theme. Hopefully you're excited to try that out. We have also shown you how to create a navigation menu with our organizer, and that it's pretty easy. It's a drag and drop system which you probably or hopefully won't have any troubles dealing with. We have also shown you some of the Chrome around the content, so the footer and the yeah, the header and stuff like that, and what you can do with it. And yeah, all of these features we hope adds to the quality of life of your Confluence users. So by that we hope that you have a little bit more information, and that you will try out RefinedTheme for Confluence Server. So I think with that, it is time for some questions, Genevieve.
Yep, excellent. Okay, so we've had some really good questions come through here. So we'll go from the top and take them through, but maybe before we go through them, it seems like quite a lot of the questions are about how the category structure works with the spaces, and how we actually work with this hierarchy in our add-on.
Mm-hmm.
So can you explain that a bit, Martin?
So the question was again how we work with the hierarchy in the navigation menu. Yeah. So as you saw in the organizer, it is a hierarchical structure. It's a simplified one, so you can have categories, and they can have subcategories. And in the categories, you can add the spaces that you want to categorize. Yeah, it's of course it's a multi-level one, but they will also be rendered in the way you saw in the demo here. Are there any specific questions more to the point?
Yeah, so there was a question about, we actually get this question quite a lot, like, can a theme be applied to a space or global only? And maybe you know the answer to that now, but we can go through that again.
Yeah, so as you saw already in the version we are demoing today, you can have different spaces on different categories, but we are soon to release our 6.0 version, and we are very excited to tell you that in that you can have it on a space level as well. A lot of our customers are asking for this, and we are very glad to be able to provide that feature finally.
So there was a question from Ian who asked, is there a way to hide the sidebar if not logged in for certain user groups? As in their use case, most of their users will be anonymous, so they won't have access to Confluence. Great question.
Yeah, great question. So hiding the sidebar for different users. The sidebar only shows information that are relevant to the user. So if the user is not logged in, it will show a login button, and it will show some other tools there. You can like auto hide it, so it won't show up. You will have to click a little button to make it show up, and but totally hiding it for different users is not something I don't think we have that in the product today, but it might be an interesting one for further development. So if that is something you want to do, please let us know with a feature request, and we can prioritize that.
Great. So we've also had a few questions come through about permissions.
Okay.
So one of the questions on this was if you restrict permissions on a space, will it show up in the top category? I'm just trying to find the actual question on that. So to the question above, are the navigation buttons exposed based on space permissions? If cannot edit, would some of those buttons be visible?
All right, so the navigation actually takes the permission system of Confluence into account. So if a category only contains spaces that the user doesn't have access to, the category will be hidden. Or if it contains some spaces that the user is permitted to view, then of course it will be shown, but the ones that the spaces that the user aren't available to view will be hidden. So it works as you would expect it to do. And we also have an advanced mode where you can actually set permissions on each category, but that makes it a bit that can sometimes make it a bit harder to grasp what is visible to who. So hopefully you will see that it works the way you expect it to, with using Confluence permissions only.
Great. So the next question is about how the dashboard interface works. So the question was, to summarize or paraphrase, can you have a dashboard per space or only one dashboard for all? So I guess the paraphrase would be, how does the dashboards work and how is that different to the space layout?
Yeah, so you have one dashboard or category home for all of the categories. So every category can have its own dashboard. That's also, you can also choose to turn that off for subcategories if you want to do that. The spaces actually have their space home, much like they do in vanilla Confluence. When you create a new space, you will get a space home with some sample content, and we have left them in place, so they are free for you to change around. So we don't have the same dashboards on a space level, but there we are rather relying on you creating your space home. I hope that was answer to the question.
Great. So quick question about the footer. Can you put a URL link in the footer?
Yes, you can. You can put links and a lot of other stuff there. And like I said, there is an HTML module, so if you find that there is something you can't put there, just write it yourself. But links are available without having to code anything.
Do the pages print well using Scroll PDF Exporter add-on?
Yeah, they should do.
And we can actually add to that this add-on or app, that we should call it now, is compatible with the most common apps. So we make sure that we're as compatible with as many as we can be, and the most common ones especially. And
if you do find one, if you're using one that isn't compatible, or if you think that it's our app that's causing trouble, please file a ticket to our support and we will get going with that. We have quite good rapport with the other add-on vendors in the ecosystem, so we should be able to solve that.
Great. So there's a question about should we provide, or how can we provide feedback, feature requests, etc. Really great question.
Yeah.
So the best thing is probably to visit our support page.
Yes.
So this is our support site, which is support.refinedwiki.com. I'll write it in the messenger here, but that's where you can have quick links to our documentation. You can also file tickets with feature requests or questions, or anything you might need help with. And that's actually another app we have that's live on our support page, so you can check that out. It's called RefinedTheme for Jira Service Desk. But yeah, really great question. So support.refinedwiki.com.
Yep.
And another great question, what else is coming in 6.0? Martin?
Oh, there's a lot coming in 6.0. So I've already mentioned, what was it? I think I mentioned the dashboard editor, right? So the dashboards are getting revamped. We have a new layout editor that's going to come in there and hopefully make life easier for you who are administrating dashboards. We also have a new feature which is really exciting called Site Builder, where we will allow you to split not only your spaces into categories, but also into different sites. So the sites will have, you will be able to have different URLs for your different navigation trees, and it will work pretty much the same way as the organizer does today, but you will be able to add a new site and then configure a URL for that. So for instance, if you have a London intranet and a Paris intranet, you will be able to host both of them on the same Confluence instance, and having the spaces pertain to their actual site. And there is a lot more stuff going on as well, some fixes and some tune-ups to performance, etc. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
There will be a new webinar once it's out. We will host a new webinar explaining all the bells and whistles of 6.0.
And to answer the question on ETA on 6.0, a couple of months, hopefully, but you'll be the first to know because you've signed up for this webinar. So we'll definitely keep you in the loop.
Yeah.
And there is another question, maybe we already covered this, but I'll ask anyway. So do some of the buttons go away based on permissions?
Yeah, so that was again touching on the navigation menu, I think. And yeah, we use the same permission engine as Confluence, and they should the links to spaces that aren't available to a user will be hidden.
So the question is actually about the right navigation bar.
Yeah, it's I think I mentioned this earlier in the question section as well, and that is actually also dependent on what user is logged in.
Great. So any more questions? Send them our way now. And also, if you think of something that you forgot to ask tonight, again, our support service can answer your questions. And we have a really good documentation site, which is docs.refinedwiki.com.
All right. We didn't quite keep the 20-minute mark, but anyway.
Great. Thank you very much for coming by today.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.